Hey everyone, before we hop into the video, I wanted to mention a couple things. First of all, this weekend marks 1 month that we've had the bus now, so we're pretty excited about that. We're making a lot of progress. Obviously we've got a lot of video footage that we're accumulating, so we're trying to keep up with that and get the YouTube channel caught up with kind of where we're at today. In the meantime, if you want to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see kind of a stream of some of the latest photos coming in kind of as we sit today. The other thing that I wanted to mention is after we bought the bus that following weekend, my dad came up. He helped me walk through the bus trying to understand kind of what the condition of the engine and the chassis was, the air brake system and all that. I'm not a professional, obviously. Still learning my way around the bus. Certainly I'm not a professional mechanic or anything like that. We're not offering professional advice on the internet. This is just a walkthrough to help beginners like me kind of understand their way around really a larger rig. So please keep that in mind. And if you have stuff that you want looked at on your bus, if you're not comfortable with it or you have questions, take it to a professional. Take it to a place where they work on these things day in and day out. And they can answer all of your questions. So what I wanted to do here was just kind of share some general things that we walked through to get a sense for if our bus had any major issues. We didn't want to dive into it and then find out that there was some major problem that really made it not worth going forward on. All right, enjoy the video. So max, no more than 1.5 inches?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. These are the slack adjusters.
It's pretty well covered though.
So that's an air hose going back.
Yeah, that's a coolant line there, I think.
So does this go back to the heaters?
Yep.
And that's what runs the heaters, and that's the knob that I was telling you about.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy that I bought it from, he said you can control the heaters there, turn it off here, and it would turn it off for the whole system, or you leave that open, and then there's a second one at the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And you can control it off and on from there.
Yeah, and usually you just leave this open. With like wiring, hoses and all that, nothing's rubbing against anything. Oh, I wanted to check the steering column knee joints. So there's one up here and one up there. If they're loose, that just gives you play in the wheel, and that's not good. See, if they were loose, these little caps would be moving around, but everything's nice and tight. That's good. And all the hoses over here are all right. Looks like.
This guy? That looks like
Yeah, that's where it's just real clean. Yeah, they might have replaced it. That's a coolant line, because there's one that goes in and one that goes out of the air compressor. The other one's back here somewhere. Yeah, it's right there. You can't see it too well.
Okay. And then this is an airline then? Or is this something else coming out of the air compressor?
That could be the other coolant line, actually.
And then is maybe that braided hose coming off the top, that's the air supply line coming out of the compressor?
This one, yeah. That's
Okay.
definitely the discharge line going to the air tanks.
Okay.
Then when you lube the chassis, you make, of course the grease fitting is facing the wrong way. You just turn the wheel until that faces out so you can get to it.
And then that's where I would take that grease gun that I got,
Yeah.
and just apply it.
And then there's another grease fitting here. Some grease will pop out here when you got that greased.
So when you apply the grease, you just apply it until some comes out and then you know it's full?
Yeah. Like this won't take too much, and this won't take too much either. Here's another one here, and then another one should be on the bottom or on the side of this slack adjuster. Yeah, right there. There's two there, and then the kingpins, there's one on top, one on the bottom. And then these steering arms here.
Okay.
Sometimes they're on the springs, but it doesn't look like this model has them.
And so these items are all different than the oil hub.
Yeah, this is like gear oil here.
Okay.
You guys gotta be careful pulling these off too, because it likes to, this little window's is plastic. They like to break sometimes. Good to keep the inside of this cleaned off so you can see right through the window.
And not have to take the cap off.
Yeah. You got a flashlight? I can get mine. Well, it's a little bit darker, but not too much.
So is milky not what you want, or is that?
Yeah, that's not what you want. That means there's water in the oil. Yeah, it's marginal. You always have to keep an eye on that. If it gets any more milky, you'll have to pull this wheel off and change the oil in there.
Does that mean there's somewhere water's getting in?
Yeah, it's just moisture gets in there. I'm not sure how it gets in there, but it just does. What we'll do next time I come up, so I'll take this cap off, and it'll let it drain. It won't take all the oil out, but it'll take like 50% of it out. And then we can put this cap right back on there and fill it full of oil.
So replace a decent amount of the oil that's in there then.
And keep it a little bit better. Sometimes they get like real chalky. See, there's a pin right here. It goes through the kingpin.
Uh-huh.
That's where everything pivots off of. And those bearings like to wear out. But if you jack it up and wiggle it, there shouldn't be any movement, and there isn't any. Sometimes I put a bar in here, but I'm sure it's okay.
So is it this forward piece here, this is the kingpin?
No, it's
Or is
right
it the one back?
Yeah.
This guy's the kingpin.
Yeah, it's the steering knuckle's shaped like that, and the pin goes through there like that. And then the whole wheel turns on that. There's an air dryer back there, that's good.
That's to keep moisture out of the air lines?
Yeah, and that needs to be rebuilt. We'll have to do that one of these days.
Is it just, you see it hidden back there somewhere?
Yeah, it's underneath, it's in back of the wheel there. If you look underneath.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, all these U-joints need to be tight. So if you push up right there. Yeah, just wiggle it. If there's any movement, you'll feel it. It's okay for this to move. This is rubber in there.
Okay.
That's okay, but between like this part and that part.
The size of these drive shafts are crazy.
Yeah. And especially on a bus, so you don't get any fumes inside the car. You always make sure you check the exhaust for any holes. Any
Oh,
leaks.
so this is just a straight pipe
Yeah.
going back.
Yeah. There's a muffler here. Next time I come up, we'll change that filter for the transmission too. These transmissions like nice clean air or fluid.
So there's a transmission fluid filter?
Yeah, right there. That's that red one there.
Okay.
And I thought this is an air tank, but I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. You can open this up a little bit. If there's no water in there, then that's good.
How often should that be checked for water?
Once every couple of months, I guess.
Well, I just realized one of the benefits of a rear engine bus.
What's that?
I can't stick a water tank here in between the chassis because that's where the drive shaft is. We'll have to figure something out on that, but that's to come later.
So is that storage too back there on that side?
This is a storage bin here, and this is storage here
Okay, so
on either
here's-
side.
Here's the fuel tank then. So back on that back axle, that's where the rod. It's not like you can't put a bar on the back because the brakes are applied right now, and that's where you don't want any more than an inch and a half.
Oh, so the same check we did on the slack adjusters up front?
Yeah.
Okay. So then how do you check something like that? You need the engine running?
No. No, you just look at it with the brakes applied.
Oh, okay, because that'll be the max that you would see on it.
See, here's that distance I was talking about right here. Right there.
Yep.
And that's about an inch or so, so that's good.
So this is just the same approach as up front.
Yep. And this is where your automatic chains are gonna go, right here.
That is gonna be nice. God, just the size of everything back here is...
It actually, because of the size, it's actually easier to work on.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Easier to work on because it's bigger. God, the size of this differential is just... Now you do have... Now obviously behind the differential, there's no drive shaft here. So we could potentially put a water tank in here and still not have it too far behind the rear axle so that we're not... I wanted the water weight to be right over the axle as much as possible. So we might have some options after all.